Here we want to be able to evaluate the definite integral. We have x times the cosine of x squared times dx with a lower bound of 0 and an upper bound of the square root of pi. So for this example, we're going to let u equal x squared. And then we're going to take the derivative of both sides. So we end up with du. The derivative of x squared is going to be 2x dx. So since we need to substitute x dx, we're going to divide both sides by 2. So 1/2 is going to equal 1/2 du is going to equal x dx. So now we're going to write the original question. So it's going from 0 to the square root of pi times the cosine of x squared times x dx. So that becomes the cosine of u, and then x dx is 1/2 du. Now we got to change our upper and lower bounds according to u substitution. So the value of x is going to be the square root of pi. When we square that, we square the square root, we're left with pi. And then here we have the square root of 0. Actually, it's just 0 squared, which is equal to 0. So we're going to factor out the constant, which is 1/2. We have our lower limit of 0, our upper limit is pi, and this is the cosine of u du. Okay, now let's evaluate according to our new upper and lower limits. So we have 1/2 times the antiderivative of cosine of u. And so the antiderivative of the cosine of u is going to be sine of u, evaluating it from a lower bound of 0 and an upper bound of pi. So we have 1/2 times the quantity, the sine of pi, minus the sine of 0. So what do we know about the sine of pi? Well, the sine of pi is 0. What do we know about the sine of 0? Well, that's 0. So we have 1/2 times 0 minus 0, which means 1/2 times 0, which gives us an answer of 0.